As we get out from under the bridge, you will see Union Station, our other Amtrak station. Even if you are not traveling by train, go check out Union Station. It is worth your time. So, you'll see this small black Xbox right here, if you will. This was the former Midwest Stock Exchange. These X bracings were revolutionary at the time. This was done by Foster Khan. People traded stocks and commodities here, so when they trade, they use hand signals. They cannot have their vision prohibited. So, Bruce Graham and Foster Khan would team up to do this again later, in the John Hancock, or 875 North Michigan Avenue. Then, in 1974, to the front of the boat right now, they would team up to do the tallest building in the world for 22 years. This is the W-I-L-L-I-S. Say it with me, everybody. The Sears Tower. Good morning. So, it is 1,454 feet tall, 442 meters, has 110 stories, and 107 elevators. Why does it need that many elevators? So, what you're looking at is not one structure. That is 9 75-foot boxes bundled together. It's called tubular bundle design. Bruce Graham got the idea for this. He was at the Chicago Club. There was a fishbowl full of cigarettes. He dipped his hand into the fishbowl, got a palm full, looked at them, made sure they were all even, top to bottom, pushed up from the bottom, and realized staggering the cigarettes, bundling them together was stronger than one cigarette would be on its own. So, no matter what anybody tells you, smoking has done one good thing. Created the tallest building in the world for 22 years. Because they do not trust you. At this point in time, none of those cars have driven off into the river on purpose. Only twice for TV and film. But it's a city within a city. To the back, you'll see it says the House of Blues. That was their... This is true, this is true, this is true. 10 years ago now, a family was visiting from California. They stepped out into one of those glass boxes, and it cracked underneath them. This is not a joke. It cracked underneath them. I just read somebody's lips. I'm good. Yeah, that would be too. But they told the people who run the show about this. This is the response they were met with. We are sorry that that happened, but that simply means that it is time for us to change the glass. Do you think so? Yeah, you think so? The broken glass means it's time to change the glass. Yes. So, it is actually just a safety measure. Again, that is on the 103rd floor. Go check it out. Cool, go check it out. Here on the right hand side, you'll see the CME building. Whenever they were engineering this building, it was more of a W shape. These two towers hold up this middle portion. So, whenever it took the weight of the middle portion, it folded in and made a U shape. But we are in the financial part of town. You'll see the staggering of the corners up there. That is to maximize corner office space. People in finance will not go to work without a corner office. The coolest part of this entire structure, though, is they built this building around the bridge house. Look how close that is to the bridge house. Inches away. But here on the right side, with two different styles of architecture, on the front, you will find Art Deco. On the back here, we will see French Beaux-Arts again. This is home to our Lyric Opera, seats 3,500. Everybody, welcome to the Civic Opera Pavilion. It's right there. You see it? So, the letter U does not exist in the Roman alphabet, and by the way, V's are much easier to carve. So, we call this Insull's throne. If you look at it, it resembles a throne. Samuel Insull funded the structure. Throughout his life, he would at one point be personal secretary to Thomas Edison. He would eventually take over the company Thomas Edison built. He would become a millionaire, railroad magnate, and utilities magnate. And later in life, he would be responsible for 600,000 people's life savings. Something called the Great Depression would hit. He would be responsible for losing 600,000 people's life savings. He knew immediately he's going to be in trouble, so he fled the country. When we get out from under the bridge, you will see Union Station, our other Amtrak station. Even if you are not traveling by train, go check out Union Station. It is worth your time. So, you'll see this small black Xbox right here, if you will. This was the former Midwest Stock Exchange. These X-bracings were revolutionary at the time. This was done by Fazlur Khan. People traded stocks and commodities here, so when they trade, they use hand signals. They cannot have their vision prohibited. So, Bruce Graham and Fazlur Khan would team up to do this again later. In the John Hancock, or 875 North Michigan Avenue. Then, in 1974, to the front of the boat right now, they would team up to do the tallest building in the world for 22 years. This is the W-I-L-L-I-S. Say it with me, everybody. The Sears Tower. Good morning. So, it is 1,454 feet tall, 442 meters, has 110 stories, and 107 elevators. Why does it need that many elevators? So, what you're looking at is not one structure. That is 9 75-foot boxes bundled together. It's called tubular bundle design. Bruce Graham got the idea for this. He was at the Chicago Club. There was a fishbowl full of cigarettes. He dipped his hand into the fishbowl, got a palm full, looked at them, made sure they were all even, top to bottom, pushed up from the bottom, and realized staggering the cigarettes, bundling them together was stronger than one cigarette would be on its own. So, no matter what anybody tells you, smoking has done one good thing. Created the tallest building in the world for 22 years. Also, but we're not going to talk about them because I want you to focus on the Wolf Point part of things. Right now, we are all where Chicago started. We're right here on this piece of land. Low-lying swampland. Wolf Point, our first hotel would be over here where this red brick building is. Everything else would be over here. We would have a tavern right here. We would have a tavern over here. And we'd have a tavern over here. We had 3 taverns. It's the only thing we had plural of at the time. We had 3 taverns before we had 1 church or 1 school. Chicago, Chicago. So, yeah, still fun back there. So, Chicago, the Chicagoans at the time, 3,000 of them, had not named the city yet. They kept hearing the local Potawatomi say the word Chicago. They had no idea what it meant. They stumbled out of our multiple taverns one night and they named the city. So, Chicago, roughly translates to the smelly onion. Welcome to the smelly onion, everybody. Yeah. Another translation is the place of bad smell. This is what I call the red line. If you're not familiar with it, go check it out. Here on the right hand side, you may have noticed this upside down building. This is 54 stories and it sits on an entire 40-foot base. The upper deck of this vessel is 38 feet wide. 2 more feet for this 54-story building. You look through the entirety of the lobby there. But it's built this way because these buildings on the right have trains running underneath them. They cannot build deep into the bedrock. So, all the way at the top of that, it's a little windy here in Chicago. So what you would find is something called a mass dampener system. There are 4 tanks of 150,000 gallons of water on rollers at the top of this building to combat wind sway. So, I'll let you know about our wind sway here in Chicago. In our buildings, it ranges from a whole 3 inches all the way to 3 feet. Some of these buildings move 3 feet. Ooh. Here on the right hand side, you'll see at the train's ventilation shafts again, you'll see these stairs. This is where the train switching tracks sit. The trains are behind this wall, but as we get out from under the bridge, look at this bridge house right here. Pointed out the first bridge house where Fort Dearborn stood. You'll see that this one has changed. They changed depending on where we're at in the city. But look back into the right. You're going to see 5 white X-bracing bridge trusses up there at the top of these back 12 stories. It is holding that building up like a diving board. It is suspended above the air. There are parts of that building you can run your hand underneath. You can run your hand underneath the building. So, here on the right hand side, good morning. This is 2 North Riverside Plaza. This is Art Deco. This is a great way to get to Chinatown with our water taxi, by the way.
Chinatown.
But you'll see 3 of them. 3 whole weeks. So, yeah, clap for it. Here on the right side though, you look at the top piece, you'll clearly see it is a different color. That is because the original topper began to crumble and fall. They removed it by helicopter, went and fixed it, and then put it back on top by helicopter again. So, we're now right where we picked you up, here on the left-hand side, right here at the beautiful Wrigley building. You'll see the gorgeous Neo-Gothic Tribune Tower. Talk about that in just a minute, because in between the two, does everybody see this building with the onion dome? That is the Hotel Intercontinental. This is the only Neo-Egyptian architecture on the tour. So, that is by Altschuler, excuse me. The onion dome is called a parapet, aka a blimp dock. We were going to run a blimp transportation service here in Chicago, but days before we were due to open, something called the Hindenburg disaster happened, so we've closed it up ever since. Chicago has a history with fires. Here on the left-hand side though, you'll see the Neo-Gothic beauty, the Tribune Tower with the flying buttresses at the top. This is the result of a contest held by the paper. Hood and Howe would win the competition, get to build the office building. They knocked it out of the park. It's a gorgeous building. It's residential today. But to the back right, if you want to look, with the marble at the street level, that was the second place runner-up, right there for the Tribune building, right there. But here on the right-hand side, near me, you'll see this brick building with the Hyatt Regency badge. This is the world's largest Hyatt Regency. Ooh, oh, it's good. It's a lovely hotel, I'm sure, but we only use it to point out behind it the fourth tallest building in Chicago. It's right here. This is the Aon Center. This, when originally opened, was the former home to the Standard Oil Company. It is colloquially nicknamed Big Stan. So, when it opened, it was originally clad in Italian Carrara marble, which is the same marble Michelangelo used to create David. Absolutely gorgeous, but sorry for David, that marble cannot handle Chicago winters. It did for 9 of them. Said deuces began to fall from the sides of the building. We had to reclad that entire building in North Carolina granite. So if you looked at it, this building was done by his students, Shipwright and Heinrich. You'll see at the top there is a circular portion that used to be a French restaurant called Cité. And no, it did not rotate, but they called it Cité because it offered beautiful views of the Cité. Yeah, moving on. So, we're slowly approaching the Lakeshore Drive Bridge. This is a double-decker, double-leaf Basque-Gill Trunnion Bridge. Double-leaf refers to there being a bridge on the left and the right side. Double-decker refers to the levels of traffic that it can handle. You can see that it has 2 levels. Double-decker, double-leaf Basque-Gill Trunnion Bridge. Opens middle out. Simple as that. If you want to learn about our bridges, this bridge, when it opened in the 30s, FDR made a famous wartime speech to christen it. So come out from under the bridge. Here on the right-hand side, you're going to see a construction area. This has often been voted the best place to buy an Apple product and lose it in the same day. We have seen it during the tour. Anyway, here we are. We're pulling back near our dock. You have the gorgeous Wrigley building here on the right-hand side. This is Spanish colonial revivalist style. This is